Usha Prabhu, you've been like trading forex for the past many years, more than 25 years.
Yeah.
In a public bank, then it moved to a foreign bank. So you've been predominantly trading crosses and G7, G10 currencies.
Yes.
So how do you got inducted into the trading fraternity when it started?
In Syndicate Bank, we had a training process where they were selecting traders for trading desk there. We had written test and interview and all that. So that's where I actually didn't know what I was in for till I became a trader. Okay. Though people told me it's a high risk job and not for women and all. It was a predominantly male dominated industry. But then I took that as a challenge and I said, okay, let me see why it should be a male predominant business and also. That's how I landed up in dealing room in Syndicate Bank. And thereafter I have not really looked back. In fact, I found that risk-taking capacity in public sector banks is not as much as it is in foreign bank. So when I moved to Grindlays, it was a totally different culture. It was a different work experience for me. And it actually stimulated my passion for being a trader. And yeah, I have never looked back.
Okay. So you started because Joel used to call you the queen of Ichimoku. You started with Ichimoku from the very beginning, or it is a slow transition?
No. In fact, when I started trading, we didn't even have these kind of, I'm talking of late 80s and all. It was just, supports and resistance level, trend line, moving averages. This is the maximum that we had done. But as we started trading and became more aggressive, then Reuters also, the market evolved. Reuters changed from being a small monochrome dabba to, the windows, and we had lot more graphs and charts and all that stuff. So I started looking at other technical tools. And something about Ichimoku fascinated me because it showed a huge trend. I didn't know what a cloud was and being above the cloud and below the cloud and what is bullish and I just had no clue about it. That's when I started looking up into the net and then asked Reuters guys if they had any write-up on that. And that's how I started looking at Ichimoku more closely, and I found it very interesting. Particularly, it was not very subjective. I had tried looking at Elliott wave and I tried looking at Fibonacci's and all. Particularly the wave analysis, it was very difficult where to start from. We didn't know which was ABC and 1, 2, 3, and I didn't want to go back to the school and to the alphabets and numbers. And it was a little more subjective from where you start your counts, which I found very difficult. It's like, I'm not saying Elliott wave or wave analysis is not but it's just that understanding it took me a long time, and then I felt Ichimoku was simpler because things were given. You knew, okay, this is the chart and this is the cloud and this is Tenkan and Kijun, and it was much easier to follow without being subjective. So yeah, I started looking at it.
Before you started Ichimoku and after you started Ichimoku, how was your trading performance look like?
Well, I got a lot more conviction once I started looking at Ichimoku, and my position size, my risk-taking capacity, everything increased. I could place my stop losses, entry, exit levels, everything for that matter,
Okay.
Because once you get a conviction, then it's much easier to trade on based on that. Unlike other, earlier I used to read other bank commentaries and all that stuff. But it didn't give me that sort of a conviction, which once I started trading, because then I knew what I was looking at and my risk-taking capacity and everything. So it was I could say a quantum leap.
Okay.
Pre-Ichimoku and post-Ichimoku.